Sorry, y'all. Sorry. Got glitches going on. I don't know. Things aren't working as they should. Anyway, like I was saying, I try to stay pretty on time, um, with my shows. And the reason is people are coming out and they're expecting shows to start at a certain time, or you advertise a time. Now, if you're going to do one or two shows, that would vary the time and what you're looking at as far as when people need to be there. So you want to make sure you stay to it. Okay. Now you don't have to worry too much about string or 5 minutes is 5 minutes. 15 minutes is pushing it. 30 minutes, forget it. You've lost the interest of the crowd. People are starting to uproar or already starting to leave. So try to stay within 5 to 10 minutes of the show, and keep in mind once you know showtime's going to start, get a microphone. You don't want the worst thing to do is be running around trying to think where the microphones are, who has them, what's going on. You want to make sure everything is ready for you to go. Now, an hour prior to your show, for me, what I do is an hour prior, I start my lineup. I start figuring out who's going to go where, and and that's when I'm doing my pre-show meeting. I have all the girls in the back, or all my entertainers in the back, and we go through who's going to go in what order. It's written out. Now, some show directors are just going to post a lineup, and that's where you go. That's just how they operate. It's preset. You just kind of do as you do. I believe it's done because that's how the order that they've selected the performers, or they've booked the entertainers, which is fine. So during my pre-show meeting, I get all the girls and I go, this is what the rules are. Okay. This is how I operate. This is what I expect, and I make sure that they're aware of what is going to happen throughout the show. I expect my girls to be somewhat sober. I expect you to be sober. If you need one drink, cool, grab you a drink, do what you got to do. But I expect you to be sober and be able to perform and be professional. I expect you to respect everyone that's that's on the cast. I don't need fights. I don't need drama. I don't need arguments. I don't need to hear nonsense, because it's just not worth my time or aggravation. I've got other stuff to do. Keeping in mind, while you're working with the other performers, you also need to be working with the bar management, with the bartenders, with the DJ as well. So you want to get all your information to them, hand it out, explain to them what's going on, collect their music, get their lineups done. And then once you've done all of that, you want to go to the DJ and have them do a lineup sheet. Now, I print my own lineup sheet, my own 2 sheets. There's lineup sheets. One, I print for the DJ, where it has a box. There's a couple of boxes on there, depending on how many performers are. That's how many boxes I make. So I can put information for each performer in said box with their music. Now, I used to do MP3s or burnable CDs or something of that effect, but times have changed, keeping up with time. Now we put everything on a USB drive, and then we have an email backup. Now is how we're doing things with me and my production teams, meaning that if you have your music, it's on an Audible file online, more than likely an MP3 or MP4, one of the two. And then you send that to the designated email address, because when we get them, we make a folder for the event, and we can move the music into it. Now, that's a good thing for all show directors to do. It's behind the scenes. No one knows about it, but that's the work you're going to do. Once you make this folder, you can now put it into a Google Drive, or you can put it into the cloud or something of that nature, where it would be accessible by you and the DJ as well. And then you would share that link with the DJ, because now he has the music. Excuse me. So if something should happen to the drive, the music didn't transfer over, it was transferred, but it's not in the right format, or whatever the case may be, the DJ can quickly figure that out and get it working. Now, once you've done all of that, it's good. You should be right about 5 minutes to showtime. So you get all the girls together, you let them know, hey, we're going about 5 minutes out. I need to be introduced. You can figure out who's going to introduce you, whether you have someone, the bar owner or the club promoter or the DJ who's going to introduce you, or you have a cue song. Now, I suggest a cue song because it's a song that if once the performers hear it, they know, hey, we've got till the end of the song, then show music is going to start, and then Diva's going to go on. So it cues the lineup, it cues the flow of the show. So all the girls, whoever's going to be, so if I'm performing first and Daisy Dead Petals is going to perform second and Aurora Sexton will perform third and Nina Flowers will perform fourth and so on and so on and so on. Everyone knows that, hey, the order's starting. We need to start prepping ourselves to get into our dressing room so that we can start getting ready to get on stage. So cue the cue music. Let's say pick a song, whatever. It's Raining Men. That when we hear that song, that means we're close to showtime. The DJ's cued the music so that the show director knows, and two, the performers know. Everyone should start. Whoever's in order should start lining and heading towards the dressing room and starting to change. Once the cue music stops, that's when the show will start. And normally at that time, I would normally, as a show director, would have a microphone and be like, it's this long to showtime. Please get your drinks, get your cocktails, grab your tables, get your tip money, whatever your spiel is. And then you start your show. Once you start, the show starts, great, go through it, run your numbers, and try to minimize your talk time, because remember, you've got so much time for the performers. Now, there are times where you need to kill time and you're going to want to talk. Mess with the crowd, have a banter with the DJ, have banter with the performer before, to give the next performer time to go. And then you need to make sure you have some kind of a cue to you from the dressing room so that you can cue the DJ and they can be prepared to get the next song started for your next entertainer. Now, here's the thing with entertainers. All of us have titles. Some may have titles, some may not. But you want to acknowledge any titles that they have with them, whether it's during their song or after their number. But you want to make sure you always address or acknowledge whatever titles they have. Whether it's the way and how to pronounce their names. You never want to mess up a performer's name on stage. It's just messy. So make sure you know how to pronounce their name when they come on. I always get tongue-tied with a couple of my performers, and I always apologize to them because I'm a little bit dyslexic sometimes. So I mess up with names a little bit, but I do, always readdress it and make sure we get their correct name out there. Another thing that I do as a performer is I always let my performer speak. I ask them, please let people know how they can follow you. Whether it's on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or Snapchat or Squarespace, or if they have a website or whatever it is, so that they can, if they liked what they saw, people like what they saw, they can go in and they can follow where those queens will be. And then you move along. You go to the next performer. Your whole show should probably run you, depending on how many performers you have, no more than maybe a half hour. I can pretty much put on a lot of girls and get through my show very quickly. And that's including banter, just to give them an extra few minutes, 2-3 minutes, just to jump out, grab what they need. Maybe they need to adjust or they're having a costume issue, but something in the back. And then I always ask for some kind of a cue to let me know when they're ready, and I keep the show moving. Once the show is over, if you do have an arrangement for pay with the club, or the club has said, look, this is how much we pay all the queens that come in, you want to make sure you are there for payment. You never want your cast members to go to the club owners and collect their payments. It's annoying. Club owners are busy as it is. They're running bars. They're grabbing new liquor. They're replenishing stock. They're busy, and the last thing they need is for 4 or 5, 6 drag queens coming up to them and asking them for their paycheck so they can dip. Tell your performers, hang out, chill, relax, unwind, mingle with the crowd, take pictures, whatever it is you have to do. And you need to let them know that you will gather their payments and make sure that it's given to them. And you'll announce, or you'll make a call for them to come to the dressing room. Once you've done that, catch up with the bar owner or the club promoter, find out when you can collect pay, because a lot of performers, a lot of us normally like to perform, and we'll mingle for a little bit, we'll have a couple of drinks, and then we normally tend to want to leave because we have jobs in the morning. Me especially. So you do all that, you get the payment, you go back, you make an announcement, please, all drag queens come to the dressing room, or if you go into the dressing room and you happen to see one, be like, hey, do me a favor, run around, grab everybody, and tell them to come into the back. Have everyone come to the back, have all of their pay, divvy out their paychecks, put it into, yeah, exactly, a day, the diary of a fabulous drag queen. Yeah, that's what this should be. Divvy out the pay. Now, you don't want to pay queens in cash. Get some envelopes. Invest in some envelopes, little manila envelopes. You can buy a whole bunch of them. Keep them with you. Write the performer's name on them. Put their tip money in there. And if they have any music on a flash, put that in there as well. Close it up and hand each one of them their pay. Keep in mind, not all drag queens are paid the same across the board. Unless your club says we only pay this amount for performers, whether it's $50, $75, $100, whatever. Keeping in mind that some drag queens are more experienced and seasoned and do have booking fees. And most clubs know that those queens have booking fees, so you want to respect that. If you promise to pay that queen's booking fee to have them at your club that night, you honor that, and so the club pays. And if you have to pay whatever the excess is, then you need to pay that. You've asked them to be there. You need to take that responsibility on. That is your responsibility, and you need to have negotiated that with the club prior. It's not the club's responsibility to pay the queen's booking fee. It is the show director responsibility to ensure that the booking fee will be met. Once you've done that and they have their money, everyone knows what they get paid. If they want to talk about what their pay was with other queens, that's beyond you. That's up to them. But 95% of the time, most queens, it's very hush of what they make and what they're paid, because it starts a fight. And I'm not, like I said, I don't tolerate the nonsense. You get your money, you go. Tips, I never ask my queens to combine tips and then pay everyone evenly. It's just not fair. I believe that any performer that does get tipped should be tipped off of their merit and what they earned and how the crowd reacted to them. So their tips are 100% theirs. Keep in mind that unless it is a benefit, then all tips are to be given to the benefit or the fundraiser. Which is why I try to stick with fundraisers, because this is so much easier. All queens already know what the agreement is. They know what the deal is. They've done benefits before. They're fully aware of it. Now, if there is some kind of an arrangement you have to make for a queen, whether it's having a queen coming from out of town, so you need to, try to arrange for gas money or something of that nature, that money normally will, for me, if it's my show and I'm running it, I will normally calculate it out from the actual benefit, or project what I need to make to offset that cost, because that's what they're entitled to. I never allow for anyone just to assume anything. If they're not part of the agreement, that's none of their business. So they need to, if they wonder what's going on or why a queen is being treated a certain way, they need to approach me and ask me. There is a reason why it's done that way. And it's an arrangement that was agreed upon. And of course, people from the organization also understand that that was a part of the agreement. So much money will go to the tips and so much money will go to them. Now, a lot of my people I work with, the arrangements are very simple. The first number that they do, they're going to collect all, whatever the first number is, and any number after that will be completely 100% donatable to the organization. And everyone's understanding and pretty clear on that. Now, that the only time they will keep any of their tips will be if it has been pre-arranged and pre-authorized by me and the hosting of charity, so that everyone's on the same page. Now, this has only bitten me in the ass once, and that had nothing to do with me. It was the fault of the person who was in charge, and they should have remembered what the hell they agreed to, because there was very long talks. And what it taught me was that there is a document now that has been created for that very special reason. That, hey, on this particular show, first set of round of tips will be kept by said performer, and everyone signs at the bottom. The performer, me, and whoever is hosting, whatever authority is, whoever is given authority to sign that said document. Excuse me, I know I'm drinking out of a bottle. No, it ain't liquor. It's my soda. Dr. Thunder. Times are hard. You can't afford Dr. Pepper. Next best thing. So, once that's all done, you've collected all everyone's been paid out. Everyone's had what they're gonna, get what they're going to get. Then it's time to make sure the back area is clean. During the preset meeting, I always tell all the girls, the way you found it is the way it should look when you leave. They're responsible for cleaning their own mess. They will clean what they're going to clean. Anything over that, if stuff needs to be a last wipe down, something like that, I normally will ask if they have any cleaners or anything like that, or vacuum cleaner, whatever, and I'll do a pass myself at the end, because I'm normally the last one out of the club anyway. And I want to make sure everything gets back to the way it was, because I don't want any issues later on down the road with the club owners and any of the performers. But it is the performer's responsibility to clean up their own state areas, people. And it's not the show directors. We're just there to ensure that the last bit of touches, any powders or makeups or anything like that does get extra wiped up. Anything that might have fallen on the floor gets picked up. Glasses get brought back to the bar. If you smoke in your bar and ashtrays are in there, they're emptied out. Whatever, mirrors are wiped, because it is a working space. Someone else is going to come in and want to come into a clean space just like you had. So you do all that, you go to the bar, you check with the owners, make sure everything is good, there's no open tabs, there's nothing that's outlandishly due. If there are any open tabs, you contact that performer and let them know that they do owe money to the bar, which hopefully they have all paid their tabs. I try to negotiate with the bar, hey, if you do 3 tickets, that's what the girls will get. Anything over that, the girls will have to pay for as a thank you for them to come out. And a lot of clubs will do it. They might do, bottom shelf stuff, but regardless of the fact, a drink is a drink, is a drink is a drink. And then you call it a night. And that is pretty much what your nightly job as a show director. And then you start the process all over again for the next show for the following month, and you start the process over again. If you want to book the same performers and you want to keep the same people on the show, then you just have to let them know what the next theme is. Once they know what the theme is, it's a continuing process, and you can have a regular monthly running show. Now, keep in mind, show directors may just, club owners may just want to do very different things, and they may not want weekly shows or monthly, maybe every 2 months at their club or their establishment. They want to see how the first one goes. But remember, if you're going to do a show, you're going to host it, you're just as responsible for promoting that show and getting the promotion material to the club so that they can put it up in their club, so that those people will know. And your performers need to know when the show is and when the benefit is, so they can put it up and advertise it. And I always, always, always friend all of my performers, because I want to see if, they are putting it up. Because if they put it up on their walls, I will see it. If they've shared it, I will see it. I do check and be like, hey, we do expect that you're promoting just as hard as we are. But all of the big information, the big promotion needs to come from the show director. That's the flyer. And if you want to know how to make flyers and websites to use that won't break your bank, by all means, you can reach out to me. And I will tell you, or you can just search it online, but there are some really good ones with some amazing graphics to them. There are some that have moving designs. I make some really elaborate flyers myself, and they all come together fairly well. And then once your flyer's up and you've made your headings and you've done all this and you've written out the event, the first big major event page that you make, you want to put as much detail into it as possible, because you want people to be hyped and know that what's coming up and what you're doing and what to expect. You don't want to give too much away, but you want to let them to know which performers are going, so that they are tagged in the event, and then you want to share it with those people so that they can accept and share it, and then you want to post it on their wall, take the URL and post it onto all the performers' walls. This way, they know, oh crap, hey, it's up. And then you post it on your wall and you monitor it, and every couple of days you just blast it. I do mine every other day, during the day, and then the days that I do it during the day, the following day I do them every other day at night. So it's blasting constantly 24 hours a day. So that, people who may work during the nights will see it, in the daytime or in the afternoon, or people who work in the evenings will see it in the morning, when they wake up, or at night when they get home. You know what I mean? And then hopefully you'll get more followings, and then, you just share it with everybody. That share button is my best friend. I try to keep it to people that live in the areas, but I tend to forget where you live, so I just blast it, and they'll either going to respond whether they can make it or not. And you'd be surprised, because I've had some friends, who just happen to be passing through, or will be traveling, or coming down to the area, or will be close enough to buy, or visiting, or be like, well, crap, let's just go down here. There's enough time for them to make arrangements to fly down, to a location and perform, or come see the performance. So sharing with all your friends is never a bad thing. I've had performers from out of town who were like, whoa, we'd love to come down and check this out and see what it's all about. And have come and hung out, and that's always fun, because then they come out in all of their jewels and dressed up and have a good night, and it's something different. People always love to, may have vacation time or be off or not have something to do or whatever, would love to come. So as a show director, you want to get it out to as many people as possible. So if you ever get a friend an advertisement or a message saying that I've shared you in something and you're not in the area, you're not obliged to come, but it's just so you know what's going on, with what I'm working on, or I've been doing as a show director. And I suggest all show directors do that. I mean, if you're going to be a show director, you're going to be seen. You're going to be seen as someone who is working constantly and posting, ads and shows, and it's going to build your rapport, your marketability, aspect. So that's always a good thing. Yeah, and that's pretty much the life of a show director. Now, there's a lot of other little intricate headaches depending on what kind of shows you do. If you're doing a fundraiser, there's a lot more. You need to find, people to donate stuff, and you need to find people to support your thing, and ticket sales, and putting a committee together, and a group. And I think I'll talk about that on another video, how to form a group or a production team. That's what I would call it, more of a production team to work with you to do that kind of stuff. But as far as being a show director, there's that. Now keep in mind, as a show director, you're going to get a lot of questions. Now, if you are going to do something where hey Conley, where you are continually doing shows, and you're going to build this, you're going to always get the headaches. You're going to get messages from the people on cast, or your cast of performers. And keep in mind that sometimes things come up in their real lives, and you want them to be aware that you are supportive of them. Not everyone knows with 100% guarantee that they can be somewhere. Stuff does come up in people's lives. Emergencies do happen. So you need to be very flexible, have backup plans, know if you can take someone off of a lineup, or have someone as hey, I may be able to make it, but I won't know until we're closer to the date. You want to, build your performer list, is what I call it. And I keep a very broad, long list of performers, in most areas that I go to, with people I can reach out to if I'm doing a show, or if I get messages from other show directors from other states, which I do get, who are looking for performers from out of town to come in to do shows, or hey, do you know any new performers in our area that we haven't heard of that we could reach out to, stuff like that. I do get asked a lot of times to fly out to other states, or travel to other states. I don't fly. Everyone knows that. I don't get in the air if I can avoid it. Um, and get invited to other areas or other locations and other bars and other people who are like, hey Diva, we want to do this, can you come out and do it? We already have the club and we have this, we just need the parameters done and someone to host it. And of course I'll do that, and of course because of doing that I have a plethora of drag queens on my Facebook that I will start messaging who live in those areas, and from there I have a book. Once I add a drag queen, I write there and I have their name and where they work. It's I know it sounds weird and it sounds creepy and stalkerish, but it's done by state, y'all. So when I'm flipping through it, I can go, okay, who's in what state, and I can flip through and I know what names to type in. Because I can't remember where everyone's from. There's too many of you guys on my page. So you want to build that. You want to have that repertoire, contact information and that network. I try to get as much information. I get their Facebook name, I get a phone number, I get an email, I get a website if they have one, Instagram, a Snapchat. I try to keep all of those cards safe and stored away, because that is valuable information and no one really needs it. 95% of the time I will never call, but I have the cell phone in case I have to text or I'm hey, I need you a quick message, or I need to get it to you fast. And I always have something that says who I am, and and hopefully they've saved my number in their phone so they know who I am. But if not, I always try to at least let, in the first message, like, hey, it's Diva. I'm just wondering if you'll be available to do a show on this date, for more details, reach back out to me. That's pretty much what I use the numbers for their email, their phones for, because I get questions and messages all the time asking for performers, and I don't give out people's information. I'll reach out to the entertainer and be like, hey, there's a show director looking for a performer on this particular date. Here's their, if you're interested and want me to pass on their name, just let me know. That's why I use the message force, because I can get messages out to you fairly quickly. But other than that, I normally never text or call or write or do anything. If I can avoid using the phone by any means, I will. If I can avoid it, I avoid it. But that's being a show director. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of headache, and it's not for everyone. That's for sure. Not everyone can get online or get up and do that kind of stuff. But it does take a special kind of person to be that show director. Now, there are clubs that hire permanent show directors, and the best way to do that is start putting shows on. Start letting them see what kind of things you can do and what kind of shows you can do. Now, you'll build a following. It's going to be it's not easy. You won't build your following overnight, I'll tell you that much. People move, people travel, people do this. But having the credibility of being able to or get a show and start one and do the promotion and do that legwork helps you learn, how to be better at it as a show director. And then, from there you move on. It's just, it's a lot of work. And if you don't put in the work to it, if you don't invest your time into doing it, you get what you put into it. So if you're going to half-ass putting a show together, you're going to have a half-ass show. If you really invest in the time and you find the right performers and you find the right promoters and the right street team members, and you do all that, then you can be very lucrative at being a show director with nightclubs, because not just one nightclub will book you. You may get two clubs who want to do, have you doing shows at their venues, because if you can show doing a show is profitable and is going to help them make money, they're very inclined to keep you and have you continually come back. That's a lot of times what happened with me. I was fortunate enough to be given a lot of clubs and being asked, hey, you come out and promote for the show, for the club, and be the face of the club, which was very different than being a show director. I was the face of the club. Because I was very personable. I would talk to everybody. I would make you feel good. How are you doing? You having a good time? Welcome to Spirit. Da 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 da. Whatever the case may be, and make people feel welcomed. I was a show host, not doing shows, but just hosting the parties. It was just what I was good at, and I got very, very well known from doing it. And it helped me move into actually putting other shows together and other parties, forming other parties. So it's a lot of work. It's going to be a lot of time, but it's fun. If you do it, make it fun for you, then you'll always have fun at it. Make small groups for each show you do, including only the people that need to know. Keep it to a need to know kind of thing, meaning only the people who are going to be in the show itself in that group, so that the information about the show can go right into there. I am notoriously known for doing all of my fundraisers and making groups for all of them, and if the performer chooses to opt out, that's on them. But if they say they didn't hear the information, I can ask them, were you in the group or did you opt out of the group? If they say they opted out, but that's why you didn't get the information. It was in the group. Sorry, y'all, but I'm thirsty today. Otherwise, I'm messaging 16 to 20 performers about whatever. It's just too many performers. So make it easier for you. Have one, if it's a group text, do a group text. If it's group email, make a group email. If it's a group Facebook or Facebook group, whatever it is, hello, Jared. Whatever the easiest way to set out information is going to be the wisest to you. A chat group is the easiest way I find, because everyone's got a Facebook, everyone's got Messenger, it's on their phones, they're going to get the message. And if they leave the group, hey, it was in the group chat. Like, I don't understand why, no one needs to really respond to it, because I can see that you all read it. But that's where I post all my information, especially if it's about a month and a half, 2 months out before I do a show. I put all the information in there. It starts with the very basic information. Thanks for joining the group chat. This is what it is. If you have questions or need answers or need dates or flyers or you need anything made or as far as promotional materials, this is where you'll send it out to, and then I will get it to you personally or privately. Otherwise, we're good. Stay tuned and follow this group chat. So I try to keep it where I can get information to them, and if they want to talk and kiki and cut up and come up with ideas together in the group, great. If they don't, then that's great too. It's just so that everyone can ask, and anyone who has questions can post in the group chat. And then this way, if someone else has the same question, they have a reference answer because I've answered it. It's in there. I get the same question 900 times and no one realizes I already answered it in the group chat. So I don't know. That most of the time I get with the same questions because they've left the group chat for some godforsaken reason. But that's where I put all the information, especially the big details, like, hey, when I finish the event page, I tell them I finished the event page. It's posted. Here's the link. I'll post the link in the group chat so they can click it and share it. I tell them that the flyers are made in there. I post the flyer in there for them. It's just a quick way to get all the information to all your performers at one time. Utilize the stuff you have in your hands. You walk around with all day. It's right there. We have it. With cell phones, we can do everything as far as social networking. So it's all in there right at the tip of your fingers. And then it's quick to share and get everything else out. But that's pretty much what it is to be a show director. Hopefully I've answered my friends' questions on that and what I do. But that's one aspect of my day-to-day. My next thing I work on is doing Imperial Court stuff, and that's a whole nother entity in its own. I think I'll make another video about that on another day. But that's what I got for you guys. I put out a couple videos today because I had nothing better to do. I've got all the information I could get. If you haven't watched any of my other videos, I do videos on drag family issues and what it means to be in a drag family. I do videos about the stimulus package, stimulus acts that are coming out. I did a video on student loan refund that should be coming out. God hoping. Fingers are crossed on that one. And videos on the Imperial Courts. I do videos on different organizations in our community. I talk about different topics. So if there's anything you want me to give my opinion on, I'm more than happy to do it. Just send me a message, and I will always be more than happy to share my insight and opinion on anything and everything that people ask me about. Like I said, these are all my opinions. They're not really anything more than that. So take it as you will. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm not saying that my way is the right way to do it, but it's the way that works for me. And it might help you. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys today on that. So until next time, and I'm not really paying attention to the camera, but my leg itches. New pants, so they're scratchy. But that's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you had a good time. You learned some new stuff. You got a little bit of an insight on what it is to be a show director. And if you want to try it. See if it works. New queens are doing it all the time. I always tell queens, rather than complain about not being able to find someone to get on a show with, start a show. Drag is a hot thing right now. Not right now because, pandemic and all, but now's the best time to start coming up with concepts and ideas, and doing your own shows. Another thing people can stop complaining about is we don't have any gay bars. There are enough drag queens. We should be opening up our own bars and doing our own things. If I had the money to do it, I definitely would have invested in a bar. That's for sure. I would buy a bar. It's definitely on one of my things to do before I die list. Fingers crossed. Is open up a show bar. I've been to a couple of really nice ones and good ones. Charlie Brown's is a good one. Marcella's is a good one. There's some other really good, I can't think of all of them, but there's some good show bars out there. Showgirls in California is a good one. Roscoe's is a good club, but they're more a club/show bar. And I think that, those are money-making things, so, but that's really all I got. Stay tuned. I'm sure I'll put out more videos, since this is all I really have to do right now. And we'll go as we go. Take care of yourselves. Later.